Okay, guys, we're going to get going with some content today. Actually diving into the periodic table, so we'll start looking at kind of the pieces of that are important in terms of, if you look at the title there, atoms, molecules, protons, neutrons, electrons. These are all chemical things, and so we're actually start talking some chemistry here. But in class, and I kind of want to do it this way as well, I want you to start with this simulation. So right here, we are looking at this simulation. So we want to click on that. So I want to open up the simulation. So you may have to sign it with Google to get this going. And I mean, mine starts up, and so you want to hit that play button, and then you're going to get air, right? So air is obviously got some chemicals in it. So all of these things are chemicals, and you can freeze them, and you can grab them and move them around. And so there's a lot of things you can do here. So this is air, things you're breathing in right now. So let's take a look at these questions that I want you to answer. So I want you to find out, what are the atoms in air? I want you to choose an atom and then draw a picture. So hopefully it's a pretty awesome, a Picasso or a Rembrandt, something real nice. Molecules. What is air mostly made of? Choose a molecule, draw its picture. Once again, looking for some amazing quality here. And then how are atoms, how is an atom different from a molecule? Your picture should kind of give that away to you. And then number 4, what is smaller than an atom? Not in the demonstration, but something that we are going to be looking at. So when I jump over here back to the simulation, I want to show you some of these controls. So first of all, you can freeze them, but then you can go here, and then this, see, that's going to show you some of these individual atoms. And so like the neon gets highlighted, or the argon. And so when you go over these, you start to highlight them, and so you can hide that. You can turn the atoms off if you just want to look at molecules. Turn it on and off. See, they're kind of going away. Same with the molecules. You got some information up here. So like I could click on that carbon dioxide, and I could actually, oh, there it is right there. Gray central atom with the red atoms attached, and it kind of talks about it a little bit. Also shows you how much is in air. Not a lot, 0.035%. Methane, that's a pretty cool looking molecular model. It's got the 4 hydrogens on the end and the carbon in the middle. So once again, some things you can kind of play around with. Now if you put that arrow back down, then obviously your menus can disappear, but you can get rid of the molecules and clean it up, and so now we really only have the atoms. And then with the mixture, you have information that comes up about atoms, molecules, and then atoms and molecules. And so lots of information to look at. So what I want you to do is I really want you to pause the video at this point, and I want you to take some time to go through and kind of digest a little bit of this information and use those leading questions to fill out all this information here. So I want you to fill this out on your own and see how you do. So pause the video and then give it just a little bit of time, and then you can start it back up. Okay? All right. So I assume you pause the video, I assume you're ready to kind of get going again. You've drawn your pictures. They look pretty awesome. Maybe you got the colored pencils out. Maybe you got the markers. Who knows? But we kind of want to go through a little bit of this and see how you did. So looking at this one, what atoms are found in air? Well, there they are. Helium, neon, argon, krypton, and xenon. They're all the things that are right here under this menu, under atoms. So just go ahead and write those down. Choose an atom and draw its picture. Well, whichever one you chose, if you get rid of molecules, you really should have just seen something that was pretty basic. Just a sphere, doesn't have multiple parts, just a sphere. Okay, and so that's the key, only one piece. All right, so we jump back over here. Obviously, you had a wonderful picture right there. So now molecules. So we're going to talk about the molecules in here. Quite a few. So if you go, you've got to turn the molecules back on, and then we go here. There they are. nitrogen, oxygen, hydrogen, water, carbon dioxide, and methane. These are things with multiple pieces. And so like the methane, once again, there it's highlighted. It's got got hit by that red one there. It's got multiple pieces, and so they're just bouncing around. That's what we're breathing in, but not a ton of methane in there. So, all right. What is air mostly made of? Well, it's not mostly made of methane, because it says 0.00017%. Well, that's not a lot. And then you kind of go and you're like, oh, okay, carbon dioxide, nope. Water, 0.3%, nope. Not much hydrogen, very little. Oxygen, which we talk about breathing oxygen, well, that's only 20.88%. And then here we go. Nitrogen, that is what air is mostly made of. It is a extremely high percentage of nitrogen, 77.85%. So when you are filling up your tires in your car, using air compressors in your house, you are using mostly nitrogen with a small amount of oxygen. And so that's the molecule that's most abundant in the air, which is a chemical that we can be familiar with because we are using this every day. So if you go there, next one, choose a molecule, draw a picture. Hopefully you drew a cool one, but the main thing on this is that your molecule should have multiple parts. That's the key difference for number 3. How is the atom different than the molecule? Well, the atom has a single piece or a single element. The molecule has multiple pieces or multiple elements. And so if we dive into our picture here, see, those are molecules. See, they got multiple parts. Those methanes, I'm going to spin it around. Now grab oh, look at this guy. That guy right there, he is an atom because only one part. There's another atom right there. Here's a little one right there. So the molecules, multiple pieces, the atom is only a single piece. So that's what we wanted you to take away from that. Okay, let's dive a little bit into some actual notes here. Now, once again, this is something that I'm hoping you have made a copy of to fill out, but if you didn't have a printer available, you could always use notebook paper, and I would encourage you to have a notebook where you're continuously writing in the notes so that you would kind of keep that organized for this class. Or you could just make a copy and then be writing in this information. Now, this drawing stuff, I mean, you really have to have your own paper for that. You're not going to be able to draw with the electronic resources because it's really just going to be typing and things. I mean, I guess you get creative and make a Google drawing, but overall, though, you just need to be writing down these notes in something that you can compare to. Printing them is the best option, but writing them in is fine. But having that spiral or that notebook that you're transferring things into and keeping that consistent is important. So like if you know these notes go here, then you can be writing out this thing as we go. You can be taking your notes. You can be following along. So let's go ahead and take a look right here. Atoms are made of 3 things. And these fundamental particles, number 4, what's smaller than an atom, is the same as the fundamental particles. These are the title of the notes. These are the protons. That's your first blank right there. Your neutrons and your electrons. So protons, neutrons, electrons. Now, you can go ahead and write that in if you printed this, or you can write that in your notebook just so that you know the answers to these things, so that you can kind of start to build up your knowledge base on this first little bit of chemistry. So we're going to talk right here. Protons are going to go there. We're going to do the neutrons second and the electrons third. So charges, they all have a charge. The proton, I want you to write that down as a +1. Those are going to be +1 charges. Important when we do the math on our next session here. 0 or neutral. So like in your car, you learn how to drive your car. If it's in neutral, you're not in gear. So neutrons don't have a charge, so it's kind of in between. And then the electrons -1. So +1, 0, and then down here is the -1. So I got the +1, the 0, and the -1. Remember, we're doing protons, neutrons, and electrons. Okay, the size. So the size is going to be kind of based upon how big they are compared to each other. So we want to write down that the proton is large. The neutron is larger than the proton, or slightly larger than the proton. And then down here, our electron is going to be extremely small. It's actually so small that we don't really look at its mass as significant when we're looking at how much these things do or don't weigh. So we're going to large for proton, slightly larger than a proton, and then extremely small. So where are they located? So we got our very inaccurate model. This is a very inaccurate model down here. This is a Bohr model. It's got rings. That's not how it really looks. It's really more clouds, and you wouldn't see it like this. And so this is just a model to help us understand what's going on, but it's not accurate. So it is accurate in terms of location. So our protons and our neutrons are going to be in what we call the nucleus, or the middle. And you should have had that term before, the nucleus, the N-U-C-L-E-U-S. N-U-C-L-E-U-S. Nucleus. You have had that before. Biology had a nucleus last year. We got one in chemistry, so this is a pretty common thing. So right there's all of your mass. So all the mass is in the middle of this thing. So everything in terms of its mass is in the center. And the center is extremely small. And so all the mass is in an extremely small area of the atom. And the rest of the atom is going to be a lot of empty space with a few electrons buzzing around and constantly moving. And so your electrons you want to write down, those are going to be in the electron cloud, which is outside the nucleus. So in the electron cloud or outside the nucleus, or both. I want you to label these pieces. So you got your electron, and then pick a color for protons and color for neutrons. But I want you to understand that protons and neutrons are in the middle. So that's kind of where we're going to stop here. I'm going to pick up with another video when I go through the math pieces, and we're going to watch this video here, just how small is an atom. So that's where we're going to stop for now. Once again, guys, make sure you're putting this information somewhere you can stay organized. I recommend just a dedicated spiral for this class. We can just keep things in there. If you can print things at home, that's fantastic. Or you can type into the actual document, but you got to find something that's going to work for you. Not everything isn't going to be able to be the same for everyone. So just find a method that works. Once again, transferring your notes into the spiral, and then having these to refer to, that'll work fine. So I'm going to pause it here, guys, and we'll jump into this, how small is the atom, in next.